would you like to bet right alongside your favorite WagerTalk or SportsMemo handicapper for the next 40 days for under $5 per day? Well, we have you covered. A 30-day all-access pass is priced at $2.99, but for a limited time, not only are we discounting the price by $100, but adding on 10 more days of picks for free. So outside of the $100 discount, we are tossing in a free 3-day all-access, a $39 value, and a free 7-day all-access, a $99 value for a combined savings of $238. So to recap, for the next 40 days, you will get all plays across all sports from your favorite WagerTalk or SportsMemo handicapper played during your access, including 5% best bets for under $5 per day. Have an existing all-access pass? No worries, as your 40 days will not begin until your current package expires.
Happy Tuesday, guys. Carmine Bianco, WagerTalk.com. Stoppage time, semifinals, leg 2, the Champions League, Europa League, and Europa League Conference. We are going to find out this week who the finalists are for those tournaments, finals in May. With me from WagerTalk.com, it's Nick Borrman and Kevin Dolan. And from SportsMemo, my favorite guy there, Pavlos Laguretos. Guys, how's it going? Kev, let's go to you first, my friend. What's going on?
Yeah, all good, Carmine. As usual, we had an absolutely monster Sunday at the weekend. We went 8-0 in soccer on Sunday. Current 22-8 run in soccer as well. So things going really, really well right now in soccer. And, looking forward to that continuing into this week, obviously. We got 2 players loaded up for Champions League and Europa League action this week. So, yeah, let's try and keep it going.
And keep it going, we will. I'm going to give out a very good promo for a 30-day soccer all access, but let's talk to Nick Borrman first. Nick, what's going on?
Been on a good soccer run as well, 32-13. I guess Kevin and I have been on all the all the same plays. Although I did go 1-2 yesterday and got trolled pretty good on Twitter for that. So that's always fun. I tried to blame Kevin. I said, you're reaching out to the wrong person. It's Kevin you want to reach out to, but they didn't listen. Otherwise, everything is good. Looking forward to semifinal action this week in all the the UEFA competitions, and a couple weeks left. The grind is on for these last Champions League qualifications, relegation spots, all the fun stuff in these domestic league seasons. So, it should be an exciting couple weeks coming up.
Yep, it certainly should. And this is why I love Kevin Dolan, because he's like that lightning rod at the top of a building that just takes all the bolts. None of them are really intended for him, but he gets them. You know what I mean? Like, I think about a month and a half ago, I lost like a play on Liverpool, and the guy, somebody just trolled Kevin all day. And Kevin's like, on Twitter, Kevin's like, I didn't even bet that game, man. It wasn't on my card. So I appreciate Kev taking the flack for me, my friend. Pavlos, how are things with you, my friend?
Yeah, doing great. I had an intense weekend. It was my birthday. I now leveled up in more than one ways, and I actually had a very good day yesterday. Won a couple of one best bets now on a 5-1 run, and looking forward to continue that run with a lot of plays. I had a lot of plays this week. 10-unit IPL play of the week for this weekend. 5-unit midweek big move. 4-unit Champions League best bet for today, and Copa Libertadores 2-pack is up for tonight, and there's still gonna be a lot of more plays gonna be loaded that I love. Yeah.
All right. Well, happy belated birthday. I didn't know it was your birthday, or else I would have sent out a message. But how old are you? I don't even know. You've got to be in your late 20s.
Yeah, I'm 27. No, I'm kidding. I'm 37. I just completed my 36th revolution around the sun, and now I'm 37. I guess.
All right. So much like Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, you're in your mid 30s and ready to move down to Miami and retire with in the MLS with Inter Miami and David Beckham. All right, guys, listen, we got a ton of action to cover, and we're going to cover today's first game, leg 2. So let's look at the odds on this one. This is Villarreal and Liverpool taking place in Spain. Number on this one, Villarreal plus 375. The draws plus 280. Liverpool's minus 143. Guys, I'm going to look at this game first, and I'm going to throw it over to Kevin. I'm going to keep it fairly simple. If you watched League One, it just seemed like, and I understand the tactics. There was a lot of discussion about this on Twitter. Villarreal came looking to secure some type of a result. Didn't really play football. Absorbed pressure. They only had, I think, 21% possession in that game. I think it was only 21% possession. One attempt on goal, 0 shots on goal. Didn't get anything done, but they held Liverpool at bay for about 52 minutes before an own goal and then another one within 3 minutes sent Liverpool on their way to a 2-0 win in that one. Expecting something completely different in this one. You have to figure if it was a 1-0 game, Villarreal could probably do sit back, absorb some pressure and try and hit Liverpool on the counter, but they've got to press the play in this one. And rightfully so. That Liverpool speed, I think, is going to get behind that back line. For me, Kev, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm looking at both Liverpool and the total. I think Villarreal gets theirs. Gerard Moreno is returning to the lineup, so both teams to score and over 2.5 here is plus 105 odds. I think that's the way I'm going to lean in this one. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Both teams to score, yes, and over 2.5 plus 105. Over to you, Kev.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting take, Carmine, because, this is a role we rarely see Villarreal in much, in fairness. Took a stalemate into Turin against Juventus a couple of rounds ago. Took a 1-0 lead back to Germany in that second leg against Bayern as well. So, as I said, this is a situation Villarreal don't get themselves in much. Believe the last 2 times Villarreal have been in this same situation, where they're facing a knockout second leg after being down by multiple goals in the first, was against Valencia in the Europa League quarterfinals back in 2018-2019, and again against Lyon in the season prior, I believe. And, the bad news for Villarreal is that they lost both of those second legs outright. So, while they're good at that defensive masterclass, absolutely no problem for them in that regard. When they're put into a situation like tonight, where they're forced to try and chase a game, from a big deficit, they traditionally haven't done so well. So, while that's the case, you can't discount what Villarreal have done at home this season. They're an incredibly hard team to beat. And against some really elite teams, Real Madrid couldn't beat them here, Atletico couldn't beat them, Juventus couldn't beat them, Bayern Munich couldn't beat them, and so on. And they haven't lost at home across all competitions since December. So despite the hole they currently find themselves in, I couldn't look to back Liverpool on the straight money line here either. I'm going to slightly disagree, just my own view. I think from a totals perspective, if you can get 3 goals, that's the way I'd be leaning in this one, under. But I even like the first half line a bit more. Villarreal came out in both of those knockout games we mentioned above against Valencia and Lyon, respectively, a few years ago. And, they tried to play against type. They came out gunslinging. They outshot Valencia by 20 shots to 8 in that second leg, 18 shots to 5 from open play as well. It was the same story against Lyon as well. Outshot them 11 shots to 4 from open play. Ended up losing both games outright. Look, that's not their game. So I'm sure Unai Emery will have learned from that, as, despite being in a hole tonight, if they're looking to take on Liverpool in some kind of firefight here, it's going to be suicide for them. This game will be over inside the first 10 minutes. So I see a more subdued pace from Villarreal in this one, despite the deficit. I think, Villarreal will look to grind out the first half here tonight, look to get the crowd involved. If they can try and manufacture a goal through a set piece, penalty, whatever, anywhere, between before the 60th, 65th minute, let's say, then it suddenly becomes game on here. So, despite the whole Villarreal currently find themselves in for this matchup, I expect them to learn from history. Don't go against type, play to their strengths, not to get too reckless in there. Especially early on. And I like the under 1.25 goals in the first half tonight in this one, as, I think Villarreal will set up still fairly cagey early here and try and look to work themselves back into this tie.
Yeah, and Kev, I'm going to go back to you quickly on this one before we move on to tomorrow's game. But But this is the thing is, I think I guess the narrative is, or whichever narrative you choose, if you figure, much like I do, that Villarreal is going to have to push some of the pace or play in this one, that it's a recipe for disaster playing a team like Liverpool. Had they gone to Liverpool in leg one and tried to play an open game with Liverpool, they likely would have left down 4 or 5, and this tie would be effectively over. 2-0 still gives them a shot, especially if they score first, as you said. One thing that worries me is just, they have some injury concerns. Moreno's back, but Danjuma is now a game day decision, and it's looking like he won't start. So that does hurt this team. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's, as I said, it's just checking into that history for me, because as you said, if they try and, usually you would have, if you find teams in this kind of situation, they're going to have to open up at some stage, and so are Villarreal here. But if we look back to the Juventus game, that's all they did in Turin as well. They sat back, soaked up pressure. It got laid on. They got a bit fortunate through that Juventus penalty. I can see the same kind of thing here, where they can't attack Liverpool here. The game's just going to go against them. So I think they're going to try that Juventus system here. Despite their injuries, try and get into that second half. Try and get something lucky through a set piece. And as I said, we've seen what happened in Turin. If they get one goal, it suddenly becomes a really interesting finish. So I think it's an interesting game tonight.
It's gonna be a fun one, and that one goes in 5 short hours. So that's Kevin Dolan, WagerTalk.com. Guys, we have a show promo. We're going to put this one up before we do the next game, Man City and Real Madrid. You can get a 30-day all-access package, soccer all-access package, $80 off. The regular price is $179, so you can get 30 days for $99. That is a great deal, and that'll cover every single play across all of Europe, MLS, and of course these competitions today, tomorrow, and Thursday. 30 days. Use code FINAL80 and you'll get $80 off a 30-day soccer all access. That code is good for any of the 4 guys on this show over at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo. All right, guys, tomorrow, big game, another big one. Real Madrid and Man City. Let's have a look at the numbers on this one. Madrid at home, plus 225. Not very often you'll see Madrid at home, plus 225. The draw is plus 300. Man City, plus 110. The League One result, it didn't go as great as Real Madrid would have wanted. They were already down 2-0 within 12 minutes of that game. Didn't look really good for the first 20, 25 minutes. They could have been down much worse, but they made a game of it. That game finishes 4-3 to give them a fighting chance at home. I have futures on Real Madrid 18-1 and 33-1. Is there any good news you're going to give me?
I think they have a chance. I will say that. I mean, listen, it's a good team. You got Benzema, who has proven this year he's scoring goals at will. So yeah, there's a chance. I mean, after going down 2-0, they're happy, right? They're happy to come back home down just 1 goal. So I think they got a great chance here. I personally like the total here a little bit better. I'll admit I was dead wrong the first time around. I took under 2.75 goals. It was over before halftime. Now the total has jumped all the way up to 3.25, which is just, I think, an overreaction to that first leg. And honestly, I think this one, again, if I like the value in the first one at under 2.75, I know it's leg 2. I know Real Madrid obviously have to score, but it's 1 goal. So it's not like it's a position where they have to push it for anything. At the same time, Man City, I imagine Pep is looking at winning this game, by just locking down Real Madrid as much as possible. If they can score 1 goal, if City can come out and score that first goal, I think this game effectively is going to be really tight and shut down, or City's going to try at least the rest of this way. And of course they have Benzema. Of course he can score, as he's proven that already. But I think it will get very tough to find space if Man City can get that first goal. So I like the under here. City took a 1-goal lead in the last round to Atletico, or back into Madrid, right? Same place, and played out a 0-0 draw versus Atletico in that game. Will that play out this way, the same way? I doubt it, but I think that similar style should be in play here, and I think Pep's going to kind of, tell the guys, hey, we just did this. Let's do it again. Let's go out. Let's play that same side of game. Let's shut this thing down. Let's not give Real any hope, any prayer that they have a chance. And like I said, if Real Madrid score first, that could open this thing up. And because now City's not going to want to go to extra time. They're going to try to push and get this win in regulation time. But if City score first, I really like the under. So, but either way, I'm going to take under 3.25. I haven't done it yet, actually, because yesterday, as I did my notes, it was at 3. This morning, it's at 3.25. So at this point, I'm going to wait a little bit longer, see what happens. Maybe 3.5 comes out. I don't know. I don't know if it's. I'm guessing it's just, like I said, a lot of public money seeing 7 goals in that first leg is thinking, how does this thing stay under any sort of total? So it might get to 3.5, in which I'll definitely be hammering that under. But right now, 3.25, I still think is good value for this thing to stay under the total.
Yeah, and Nick, and that's the thing. Before I go to Pavlos, is a lot of times in these 2-leg ties, you get a reaction from the result in game 1, and it leads people to think game 2 is literally going to be a mirror image of what it was in game 1. We've seen a lot of times. You look at Liverpool going to Porto and winning a game. I think it was like 5-0, and then coming home, and it's a scoreless draw. So I think you have to draw a line through that 5-3, that 4-3 game, Nick, and look to the under. I think I like the under. I was pretty sure I liked the under in that Man City game, the first one. It was pretty much done in the first half. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, listen, you rarely see the same thing, like you just mentioned, play out in both legs. So I think, again, the overreaction has given even more value to the under in this one. I liked it the first time around. I like it even more so here at 3.25. So I don't think it's going to play out like it did in that first one. This is going to be, listen, leg 1, you can be a little bit more open. If the teams are even, which these teams, are arguably a lot more even than Villarreal and Liverpool. Villarreal, we knew their best chance over 2 legs is to slow the game down and just hope not to get blown away. But these teams can score. So they can take risk. But now as the pressure builds here in the leg 2, and if all of a sudden you fall behind and you're running out of time now in a second game, nobody wants to get in that situation. So I think it's going to be a lot more cautious from both teams here.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Pavlos, I was one of the biggest fans of UEFA's rule to remove the away goals rule and just make it the total aggregate. And now I'm wishing they revert back to the away goals rule, given the fact that Real Madrid got 3 in that leg 1 game. Give me your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, scoring 3 on Manchester City and possibly, bowing out at the semifinals is surely a tough blow. I personally didn't like at all that rule because I loved how teams performed at home and how they, they performed on the road where they tried to score an away goal, which was huge. But anyway, as far as this match goes, in the first leg, I'll admit that I made a mistake. I didn't know that Manchester City didn't have a right back. Walker was out, and they used Stones there, who was awful. He got subbed at the 36th minute, and Pep used Fernandinho there, who he's played the position before, but the guy is a defensive midfielder, maybe a center back, not a right back, and he was exposed by Vinicius Junior on a couple of occasions. So Walker is back in training, so I believe that he's gonna, Pep is not gonna waste another player there. He's gonna probably start Kyle Walker, who is always influential and instrumental to that defense and the offense, but usually the defense, he's a really, really good defender. And as for Real Madrid, the gap of the absence of Casemiro was more than obvious in that first leg. They conceded 4 goals and their defense kind of looked in disarray in numerous occasions. And of course, now they won't have Alaba, who was subbed off at the halftime of that match, and now he's missing. So from what I've read, they're probably going to use Nacho as a center back, maybe Carvajal as a center back. To be honest, I don't really trust Carvajal. I think he's kind of lost it this season. Maybe he operates better as a center back, but there at the side, I just don't like him. And this match, I believe that with Casemiro back, he's going to be, he's going to have the duty to lock down Kevin De Bruyne to maybe, destroy his game, because Kevin De Bruyne only needs a couple of touches to be very dangerous. So what do I like in this match? I kind of like, Real Madrid to qualify at plus 300. I kind of like Real Madrid to win by exactly one goal. It's at plus 400, and that will send the match to extra time. And you know how much I love an extra time. And I also like Casemiro to be carded at plus 107 because, as I said, he's going to be tasked to stop and destroy Kevin De Bruyne's game. He's not a very careful guy. He's got 11 yellow cards in 29 La Liga matches, 3 yellow cards in 9 Champions League matches. So I can totally see that happening. So yeah, that's what I like. I like actually Real Madrid to win by exactly one goal at plus 400, and I like Casemiro to be carded at plus 107.
Speaking of Casemiro, this could, if they lose today, this very well, Pavlos, could be his last game in Champions League in a Real Madrid jersey. He is now moved from the untouchables to available in the summer transfer window. He's got a $50 million tag, but he is available for any team looking to add him. Pavlos, I'm going to throw one more at you because you talked about Vinicius Jr. That run he made to score that goal in the 55th minute was absolutely unbelievable. It reminded me of some of the runs that Kylian Mbappe have made. So let me ask you a question. 100-meter dash, Vinicius Jr., Kylian Mbappe, and Alphonse Davies. Who wins?
Oh, that's I don't know. I would pay money to see that, to be honest. But I think it's Mbappe. Well, is it with a ball or without the ball? Just a dash.
Just a dash.
Maybe
no
Vinicius. Maybe Davies is faster than in the just a dash. I think maybe Davies is faster.
We're going to put a price up on that one. All right, let's move on, guys. We got Thursday Europa League. Let's dash over to that one. Pun intended. Let's look at the odds on this one. Frankfurt and West Germany. Eintracht Frankfurt at home plus 145. The draw is plus 245. West Ham plus 187. League One result on this one in London was 2-1 for the away side. Frankfurt getting the win. They return home. Kev, listen, I'm going to go to you on this one and talk to you about this. Both these teams, we talked about it last week. They seem to have pretty much packed in their domestic league seasons, focusing on this tournament alone to get them into next year's Champions League. And you saw it with West Ham resting Antonio on the weekend against Arsenal and losing 2-1 at home. They brought him in late. And Frankfurt yesterday, they looked pretty lifeless against Bayern Munich in that Monday fixture. What do you see happening in this one?
Yeah, well, as you said, we talked about this game last week, actually, and we gave out Frankfurt plus a half a goal as the value side of playing that first leg. And, I remember saying last week, I personally thought West Ham would find a way to choke that game out as favourites at home. And, they duly delivered. But, it was a great game, in fairness. Bowen hit the bar. Benrahma hit the post. I mean, it really was end-to-end stuff. Frankfurt had a ball come off the post as well. So I've flip-flopped from last week to this week. I'm a lot more bullish on West Ham this week than I was last week. It was just the fact they were being hyped up last week way too much, in my opinion. Second favourites for the competition behind Leipzig, talk on the British media about them winning the competition. So I think this almost no-pressure environment on Thursday will actually suit West Ham a lot more. As they're almost expected to go out here. They've ballooned way out to plus 500 in the futures market now for this competition. They're second from bottom. They're barely ahead of Rangers. Eintracht Frankfurt heavily favoured to advance here as well, minus 400 in the qualify market. So David Moyes, his team are expected to bow out here at this stage in this second leg. But, just as we saw in that second leg against Sevilla, back in the round of 16. They were also expected to go out there, just like they were against Lyon the last round as well, heading to France. West Ham showed up big in both of those second legs when not much was expected of them and got the job done. So, I wouldn't write them off here at all in terms of repeating that. And I actually think there's some really nice value on that plus 275 West Ham to progress market in this one. We got to remember as well, Eintracht Frankfurt, for as good as they've been on the road this season, have been absolutely woeful at home. Just 4 wins at home all season of the Bundesliga. They haven't won in this venue since mid-March either, and that came against bottom half side Bochum. So if home form was the league table in Germany right now, Frankfurt would be getting relegated. So there's absolutely no way I could look to back Frankfurt in this one as home favourites. And I'll actually be taking, a little sprinkle, as VR says, in this one of that plus 275 and West Ham to progress. I love that no pressure environment now for West Ham here. And I think the Hammers can pull the upset over in Germany on Thursday.
Yeah, Kev, just to go back at you one more time, it's funny because when you're done, I was going to mention the price on to qualify at plus 275, and I thought it's a good deal. Hey, listen, I love what Moyes has done with this team. It's we see it each and every season. He's up there competing top six, and with a squad that maybe doesn't have that same quality as a lot of those teams there, but he's done a fantastic job with this team. If you're looking at it, and I get it, the two qualifiers at plus 275. Now to get there, they've got to win this game in 90 minutes. Do you look at starting off with taking them at? I'm seeing the price at plus 190 in some places. You start with taking them at plus 190, and then sprinkle on the plus 275.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely could do, but that plus 275 just stood out to me right off the bat. And just in terms of what you said about Moyes, man, he's such a great manager. I almost think he's underrated. And if Manchester United had more patience, he could have rewarded them with a fantastic team. But here we are. And as I said, for me, I just like the value on that plus 275. I think West Ham have a really good shot of going through here.
All right, Kevin Dolan at WagerTalk.com. Guys, let's get into the fourth game, the second semifinal on Thursday. Kev's favorite team, Rangers. They're not really his favorite team, but Rangers and Red Bull Leipzig. Let's have a look at the numbers here. Rangers plus 280 at home. The draw is plus 260. Leipzig minus 110. League One result in Germany, 1-0 for Leipzig. Nick, I'll go to you first on this one. Is this just have to see it out type of game for Leipzig? All right, Nick Borrman, WagerTalk.com. Pavlos, you look at it and you might think that, sort of looking at Leipzig, that they need to get into the finals, number one, and likely they could be in a spot where they need to win this competition in order to get into next year's Champions League. They dropped out of the top four. They lost on Monday to Borussia Mönchengladbach 3-1, and now sit 1 point back of Freiburg, who don't seem to be losing any games right now. They close out the season with a couple easier games as Arminia Bielefeld and Augsburg, but still being a point back, it doesn't seem like much, but if the teams in front of you don't lose, you're not going to catch them. Does that put any added pressure on them here?
Well, to be honest, maybe Freiburg will lose, and maybe they can somehow sneak into the top four, this Red Bull Leipzig side, because Freiburg, they have a cup final coming up, and one of the two remaining matches is against Bayer Leverkusen. So they might drop some points, and Leipzig might be able to climb inside the top four, which I think was their initial, target for the season. But I was kind of alarmed by that first leg. I think it was a very scary. They were kind of scared. Actually, they were missing 3 of their 4 starting defenders. So they really wanted to. They stacked that midfield and they tried to at least not concede. And Rangers, they were missing Roof and Morelos, who is out for the season. So they were kind of teethless in that match. So. But I didn't see. I think Leipzig were kind of scared in that first match. And again, over the weekend, they lost to Gladbach, who, of course, Gladbach are not a very bad side, and they can cause upsets. But, they were obviously distracted, this Leipzig side. So I totally agree with Nick on the both teams to score here. Rangers very, very strong at home. Traditionally, there's going to be like a hellish atmosphere at the Ibrox Stadium. And I could actually see a lot of goals in the first half. I mean, in their home match against Braga, they scored twice and they had a goal disallowed. In their previous match against Red Star, they scored twice, and then the Red Star had 2 disallowed goals and a missed penalty kick in the first half alone. Their match against Dortmund had 3 goals. So I believe that we could even see a lot of goals from the first half. So I like the over one first half at -115. Of course, I 100% agree with both teams to score at -140. And if you want to look for scorers, of course, you got to take the usual suspect, Christopher Nkunku for Leipzig, +140, and Kemar Roof for Rangers at +170.
All right, Pavlos Laguretos of Sports Memo. Guys, before we get into the best bet segment of the show and close it off, it's Tuesday, so of course it's $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. $2 Tuesdays is where you can get a featured Cappers plays for only $2, and those are plays that normally go for $25 and $35. You can get some great deals within the analysis section over at WagerTalk. Tokyo Brandon, I got to meet this guy in Vegas during the Puck Time meet and greet, and just a great guy all around. He's got a play up, get it for $2, along with some great promo deals. And over at Sports Memo, Joe D'Amico, Ross Benjamin, and Dr. Chuck. You can get all 3 of them for $5 or each one separately for $2. And again, with some great deals in the analysis section for each one of those guys. All right, guys, let's get into the best bet segment of the show. Kev, we're going to go to you first. You've got something happening Friday in Portugal. Tell us what you got.
Yeah, just to remind everyone too, Carmen, we've got 2 plays up in Champions League and Europa League for this week, along with a 5%, I know this is the soccer show, but 5% NBA Juggernaut play up for tonight as well. That's our first 5% NBA release of the playoffs so far. Swept the board last season in the playoffs 4-0, so looking to do the same this year as well. In terms of a best bet, we're going to go to Portugal, as you said, this Friday. And we're looking to take Boa Vista catching a 1/4 goal head start at home against Vitória de Guimarães. How's that for pronunciation, Pavlos? Despite their issues this season, Boa Vista have been super tight at home. They've lost just 3 times all season inside the Estadio do Bessa Seculo, with only Sporting and Porto having less losses at home this season than Boa Vista have. And coincidentally, those are the only 2 teams that have managed to beat Boa Vista at home over this calendar year so far. So this is a really hard team to beat, especially at home. And I don't see them losing in this one either. And I like the value on Boa Vista here, catching a 1/4 goal head start on Friday against Vitória de Guimarães over in the Portuguese Primeira Liga. So that's my best bet.
Awesome. I've got it down, and I will be playing it. So good luck to you. Nick, you're going MLS, and you're going MLS on Saturday. So tell us what you got.
Yeah, I had a nice winner with the MLS Best Bet last week's show, so we'll try it again. This time looking at taking Columbus plus a 1/2 goal New England finally got a couple wins, won 2 of their last 3 games after losing 5 straight, and knocked out of the Champions League. However, 2 teams they beat, Charlotte and Miami, hardly the cream of the crop in the MLS. Both teams rank in the bottom 6 in terms of expected goals. Miami minus 0.49 and Charlotte minus 0.57. Columbus, meanwhile, ranked number 4 in the MLS, plus 0.7 expected goal differential per game. They're allowing the second fewest shots per game, just 7.9. The league average is all the way up at 12.3. They too had a bit of a rough stretch. They lost 4 straight games. However, 2 of those games came against the best teams, some of the best teams in the league in Philly and Nashville, while also losing to a solid Orlando team. Plus, they had a cup match, which I'm sure they didn't give 2 craps about. Bottom line, like last week's MLS Best Bet, where we took Austin against Houston, Houston hadn't proven themselves yet against anybody. New England has not done the same thing. They haven't really beaten anybody yet, and they've been in a really poor stretch. So I'm going to take plus a half a goal on Columbus. They've been playing better. They've been getting results against good teams. So I think it's a good way to play this MLS matchup on Saturday.
All right, Nick Borrman, WagerTalk.com. Pavlos, I'm going to you next. You're taking us on a ride to La Liga on Sunday. Tell us what you got.
Yeah, I got both teams to score in the match between Espanyol and Osasuna. This is a fairly, not a flashy match. Espanyol, they have nowhere to go, rather safe from relegation. Still, they need a couple of points. And, they're always scoring, especially at home. A lot of both teams to score lately in the past couple of months. And Osasuna, they might have just a slight chance to make it into the top 7. Of course, they're going to need a lot of results to go their way, starting with a win here. So, and Osasuna, they were actually one of the surprises on the road this season. They have 7 wins, 7 losses, and 3 draws. They've grabbed a lot of points. I think it's the 5th most points, away points in the La Liga. So I expect an open match between the 2 sides. Espanyol, they usually get on the board at home, and Osasuna, they badly need this win. So I like both teams to score here in what could be a goal fest.
All right. Good luck to you, Pavlos, on that play. Last week I had Arsenal against West Ham. I'm going right back to the EPL again. Kev, you might want to take cover because this team hits me like lightning all the time, so it might be coming your way. I'm going to take Man United. They finally put together 90 minutes of play on Monday, and they looked pretty good doing it against a Brentford team that had been playing extremely well with Eriksen in that lineup. They're plus 145. They've won 7 straight against this Brighton team. I'm going to take them at plus 145 here and look to see. It's too little too late for them to get into the Champions League. It only figures that they should start winning some games now. So we'll take them at plus 145 on the weekend to get the W. All right, guys, listen, thanks for tuning in. Next week, we are going back to domestic league action. There's a lot of EPL games, a lot of Liga games, and that's what we're going to discuss on Tuesday's show. Thanks for tuning in. For myself, Nick Borrman, Kevin Dolan, and Pavlos Laguretos, this is Stoppage Time. We'll see you next Tuesday, 10 a.m.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.